Blacks in Law Enforcement of America. Blacks in Law Enforcement of America is a national organization of black law enforcement professionals. We comprise of correction officers, police officers, sheriffs, court officers, and even civilian workers that work in the law enforcement system. The first thing people always ask is, why do you need a black law enforcement organization? Well, I just say, well, look at your local police department. Local police departments comprise of mostly white people, from management into officers. Now, we look at Ferguson. We always want to look at places that are out of New York State. Well, Ferguson only have 3 black cops. Ferguson don't have no blacks in management. But we can look at that in New York. There's Fergusons in New York. Well, I live in Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon is a population in Westchester County. It's a population of 80, it's 80%, 80 to 90% black. Black mayor, black city council, black controller, black water ed. But we only comprise of 40% of the police department as black officers. Westchester County, 3rd richest county in the nation. They have 12 black cops. 9 male and 4 female. Yonkers Police. Yonkers, 3rd biggest city in New York State. Out of 260 police officers, they only have 30 black. And then we go back to Westchester County Police, they have no black supervisors. Now this is New York. So when we talk about police and community relations, we do not have to look to Ferguson. We do not have to look to Baltimore. We do not have to look to any other place but in our communities ourselves. Right here in NYPD, it's the same scenario, it's the same story. Now, what can we do? As black law enforcement, we are outnumbered. And they frown on black law enforcement being in organizations like Blacks in Law Enforcement of America or the Guardians or different black fraternal organizations within the police departments. We come to the pastors and we come to the leaders and we show them where the bodies are buried. But nobody listens to us. Nobody listens to us. When the police commissioner meet with the pastors, they talk about training. We have some of the best trained officers in the world. The problem is there's no accountability when they violate the training. That's the problem. The problem is not the training. Racial sensitivity, that doesn't work either. Because a racist white man is a racist white man. No matter how many classes that he sits, because he has to be there. And a black officer that hates his black self is the same. No matter how many classes he sits, just because he has to be there. It has to be accountability when they violate policies and procedures and training. And one thing we've been speaking to community leaders about is that what we need in New York State and in the rest of the country, we need a clear definition on what police criminality is.
All right.
See, the Gardner case, Officer Pantaleo, he violated policy, but it wasn't a crime. And that's the key. Now the sister in Baltimore, she did the best thing she could do with state law to match the violation of policy with the crimes that were on the books. And some people say it was excessive. Some people say it wasn't enough. But that's what she had to do because there's no definition of police criminality. See, police officers are trained by your tax dollars. A police officer doesn't take a test and pay to become a police officer. It's our tax dollars that train them to become a police officer, that they get certified by the state. No matter where you are in New York State, you're certified as a peace officer of the state. Corrections, sheriffs, we all are peace officers of the state, and we have a certificate paid by your tax dollars. Now, you go to your police department, and they have policies and procedures that was created by what? Our tax dollars. Now, if that cop or that officer knowingly and willfully go into the community and violate those policies and procedures and those trainings, it should be a crime. Because they violated the people that paid to have them trained for them to protect and serve us. See, black people are the only community within the United States, matter of fact, throughout the world, that never have a say in how their community is policed. Absolutely. Even though we vote faithfully for the elected officials, we raise money for the elected officials, but we never have a say in how our community police. We are always told how our community is going to be policed. They do not do that in the Jewish community. They do not do that in the Italian community. No white community have the police chief tell them how their community is going to be policed, other than black people. So we have to change that relationship. And we have to speak on state legislation, police criminality, definition, independent and special investigator in questionable police shootings and actions. Right now, Governor Cuomo is playing politics because he's pointing the finger at the legislators saying, well, they have to pass a monitor. That's not enough. See, people are not marching for monitors because a monitor is not going to do anything. You need an investigator to come in and investigate, question witnesses, and look at evidence, because that's the key point of it. And they can't have a relationship with the DA's office or the police department because there is a bias. We know that there is a bias.
Yes, yes.
So what they're offering us in Albany is not what we asked for. But we got to ask them, why are you offering that when we're asking for an independent special prosecutor and investigator? A monitor is just going to wait till the evidence comes, and it's going to go to the grand jury. We know what's going to happen. Right? And then the monitors come and look at the same evidence and say, well, we agree with the DA. That's what's going to happen. But that's not what we need. But we voted for Cuomo. We voted for the black legislators and some of the white ones that's up in Albany. We have to hold them accountable to what we need as a community. Amen. Because our young people are being killed at a rapid rate. And black officers are being shot and killed.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
We're being shot.
Yes. Yes.
I've been pulled over in racial profile. And then I pull out my badge. Oh, why didn't you tell me that? Why should I have to?
All right. That's right.
Why should I have to? See, my wife is a detective in Mount Vernon. She's been racial profiled. She looked more like a social worker than a detective. So we know what goes on within this system. And we talk about it all the time. And as a woman, black woman, she's treated a little different because the black male has no power in this police thing. No, it's no different than the street. Black male just don't have power.
That's right.
Because we deal with the racism. And when you speak out about it, we know how it is. You become the person that they don't want none of the young black officers to talk to. Well, don't talk to Brother Dan. Don't talk to him. He'll, you know, and that's what we go through. But we need the community's help. Black officers are not going to say it, but we need your help because it is a complete racist system. You can't get it no other way. When you have all the people that's running the police department is white, and then they put a black man in that really has no power. I'm talking about NYPD.
I know.
That's why Banks left. You're not going to put, Banks was not going to be put in a position that he didn't have any power.
That's right.
See, where he was at as chief, he had power. And Bratton knew that. So Bratton wanted to pull him from that, put another white man in there, put people that he can trust. And then put him in a position that didn't have no power and thought that he would just be a happy black man because he was deputy commissioner. Michelle Alexander's book, The New Jim Crow, if you haven't read it, you should read it. But what is key to that is that the 30 years that she was speaking about legislation, policies and procedures in the criminal justice system that was passed in those 30 years, we had black judges, we had black police commissioners, We had black chiefs. We had black elected officials. We had blacks in those key positions, and nobody pushed back on those legislation. We had black police officers. So we have to change the way we look at and think, how are we going to address the criminal justice system? Because the last 30 years it haven't worked. It put more black men in jail. It killed more black men. And we have to really look at it as a way it was created to black and the black codes and the slave codes. That's how policing was created, to enforce those codes. It hasn't changed today. I've been in it for 25 years. I got to work tonight. It hasn't changed today. I work in corrections. I watch 2 generations of families come up in there. Now I'm watching their grandchildren come up. And there's no real programs in the jails. These are the things we have to address outside of the police criminality factor. But because the police officers is the doorway for our black men and women into the criminal justice system. And after they get in the criminal justice system, it's hard for them to raise a family and have a life. And with policies like stop and frisk, policies like racial profiling, it's just putting our young people in that. And that's why our young people are out in the street. And that's why our young people are throwing rocks, because our young people understand it. They understand that when they're 15 and they're 6'2", and they're walking down the street, they are a target for these white cops. To make a quick collar, to get some overtime, and hopefully they can get hurt and they can retire.
Yes.
Wow.
This is the game.
Yes.
I'm telling it because that's what it is. And see, and we have to have these type of conversations, and we have with law enforcement that's going to tell you what's really going on. Because Pantaleo is going to retire and keep his pension. His pension ain't going to be taxed. But what's going to happen? They're going to spend millions of dollars to settle or go to court with the Gardner family. But guess whose money is that?
Tax dollars.
It's the tax dollars.
Amen.
It's your tax dollars.
Yes.
They'd rather pay with your tax dollars than correct the problem.
That's right. That's true. That's right.
Because,
Amen.
because the police department is still serving its purpose, controlling a certain area of the community. Not protecting and serve, but containing and controlling the community. To keep them out the white areas. To keep them over here. Y'all could kill each other, y'all could do whatever. See, because the police only respond when there's a shooting. But they don't even do anything proactive to make sure it's not a shooting. Understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So how did the guns get in the community?
That's right. It's true. It's true.
How did the guns get there? The state, we have one of the toughest gun laws, but the gun trafficking law didn't change. See, you can still bring them in here. They not gonna, it's no different than the Rockefeller drug laws. See, we ain't gonna mess with the white people that bring the guns in the city.
That's right.
We gonna arrest everybody that end up with the guns, is mostly black folks.
Yeah.
But we ain't gonna put stricter rules on how the guns get into the city, because those are white folks. Ain't no big time black gun running people running up and down. We know that. We barely can afford gas and the tolls. So we know that ain't happening. It ain't black folks. So we know that. But see, but that's the game that they continue to play. And we continue to fall for it. So as a black law enforcement organization, you know, it's an honor to work with all your brothers and sisters. It's an honor to come to the table and have real discussion on how we can change this and give y'all the bodies, give y'all the graves, so when y'all dig them up, y'all throw them on these elected officials, throw the bodies on their table. Say, well, what you're going to do with this? Because we're going to give you the questions to ask, and we're going to give you the correct answers. That's the way. Always ask the question that you know the answer.
Yes.
So we can hold them accountable and we can change our communities. Thank you very much.